Hello, beautiful love goddess. On today's podcast recording, we are talking about how important it is to keep cutting toxic people out of your life. I know that this has been an ongoing subject for a lot of our podcast episodes, and I cannot stress enough how important it is. And I will continue talking about this because not only women really truly get it, and if they get it with their brain, they don't act on it. And we'll talk about this and the reasons why they don't act on it, in this episode of the podcast. So, oh my God. So I know it's been an ongoing conversation. There's so much to say on this, but the key point is that without you having your safe space where you can safely express yourself, you and become authentic and really connect with yourself, you will not able to grow further in your self-development and self-love journey. There will be a lot of people who will tell you how to live life, who will tell you you are doing things wrong, who will try to manipulate you because they want you for themselves, who will try to control you, who will tell you you can't do this or that because they want to have that power to tell you what you can do and what you cannot do. And this is a huge topic because this could be approached from a healthy perspective. Let's take marriage, for example. In marriage, husband and wife would have a healthy conversations about what it is that our expectations are for the marriage, for relationship, for how the family is going to run and operate. It is an actual somewhat of a business meeting. In the beginning, you do discuss those logistics and you want to make sure you are aligned, and then you build in the fun, sex, and everything into the relationship. A lot of times when you are only operating on the feeling of being in love in the beginning, the problem with that feeling is fleeting and it goes away, and what's left in the end is just two human beings who are trying to manage the realities of life. And while Love Goddess Academy touches hugely on how to move back from becoming those two business partners, and that's why I don't like the word partners, because that is exactly what's happening in most of the marriages, and the love and the fun and the play goes away in a relationship, right? And so Love Goddess Academy, we are teaching to bring that element back just like it was in the beginning in long-term marriages. However, if you don't sit down and discuss expectations, then it's going to be user-abuser situation, right? You are, taking care of a baby, for example, if he doesn't want to take his own responsibilities. And this might as well also turn into the opposite. A woman can become that splinter in a relationship. And, I never want to specifically no, it's always the man, it's the woman. And no, it's both. It's human. Humans are different across the board. There are good women and bad women. There are good guys and bad guys. And you can't just cut everything under one big knife and call it a day, right? You have to look at, case by case and what that person puts into it and what the other person gives to that, into the relationship, right? So with that being said, there is a lot of toxic relationships out there where one person is controlling the other person, right? In a lot of cases, it is a man who is toxic and controlling the woman, but there's also a lot of women who are being toxic to their good man, right? So I'm gonna focus, since you are a woman most likely watching this and listening to me, right? Because we are all about embodying Love Goddess, and we are speaking to future Love Goddesses. I assume you are on your path to embody your higher self, right? And you might find yourself, when you are seeing an empowered woman, you're inspired by that empowered woman. That means you want to become that empowered woman yourself, right? And sometimes you start high and sometimes you start from the bottom by following the basics and cutting out toxic people out of your life. And that toxic person could easily be your own husband. How do you know who toxic person is? You feel that you are being taken advantage of, you are being passively, you feel that passive aggressive attitude, there's always blame that is happening, that you are not good enough, and this is not good enough about you, and your body is not good enough. So we've had clients who wanted to book boudoir session with us, and their husbands would come to tell her that, oh, your body is not good enough, you can't do the boudoir session. Like, what? Are you really serious about this? And a lot of women also financially dependent on their husbands, which I am advocating against. Please be financially independent, work your work, have your money, so that way you have your supplies of money. If you ever decide to leave that abusive relationship, which eventually I assume, if you're listening to this, you are getting ready to break any connections you have to toxic people in your life. Toxic people could be also your mother, your own mother. And that you can't change anything about your family dynamic, right? It could be your family, not just your husband or your wife, right? It could be your family that's given birth to you, that you grew up in. And so any toxic people that you have in your environment, in your surrounding, that are telling you that you're living your life wrong, you're not good enough, your body is not good enough, you doing everything is like, everything you do is not good enough for the family, or you're not doing enough for the family or relationship, or you just not enough and you constantly being bitched at, like, that's your sign that person needs to go. That's your sign that person needs to be out of your life completely, with everything cut off, all ties cut off. Just do not speak to that person, period. They don't deserve to be part of your life, because all they do is put negativity back into your life that you are trying to escape, avoid, and you need to, and you still absorb. Even if you don't absorb, even if you say, what she says doesn't matter because I am better than that, you're still energetically carrying all that weight that's been put on you, and you still absorb it. You might not absorb it to the same level of a degree, but you absorb it energetically, and it's still part of your DNA, right? So those people need to go. Cutting toxic people out of your life is step number one in embracing your empowered woman within, who is your love goddess, right? Cutting toxic people out of your life is mandatory, and it cannot be avoided, right? I keep hearing it over and over from women that, again, coming to coaching sessions and coming to our boudoir studios, and we ask them, why are you doing this? And we keep hearing it over and over and over that, oh, I'm finally ready to live life for myself. I've been in an abusive relationship for years. 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years. And like, that's how long. And she could have used that time to create her amazing life for herself, but she wasted that time taking on the abuse and experiencing and dealing with that abuse and living in the negativity. While it is very sad that that life has gone away, I want for you to know, my love, that it's never too late to start over and be happy and start building your happy life. And the sooner you cut toxic people off, the better. The sooner you cut them off, the sooner you are able to start fresh from clean slate. But why so many women don't get out of that toxic relationship? Let's talk about that. Because they've been brainwashed for the most part that they are not good enough, they don't deserve better relationship, that they are not pretty, that nobody's gonna love them, that they're not worthy, that they need to settle, that, they wouldn't be able to sustain themselves financially, that nobody's gonna love them. I think I already said that, right? Those are the tactics of a person who is emotionally abusing you, my love. Those are those tactics. And if your close one keep telling this to you, you are dealing with an abuser. If that person is telling you they're doing everything for their relationship and you doing nothing, if they keep telling you they're working so hard and you are not giving enough, you will see them through their ego, through overload of their ego. They're everywhere. They absorb every piece and corner of your life, and everything that you do, it's always about in the situation of an abusive husband, it's about the husband. Oh, my husband this, my husband that, my husband this, my husband that. It's never about you. You don't even know who you are. You don't even know what you are about. It's always about him. It's always about his desires. It's always about what he wants to do. It's always about his rules. It's always like you are not even in the account here. You are not even in the account here, and you're just putting up with that because you don't want that confrontation, or you don't want to have another argument, or you don't want to have another oh my God, I can't think of a word. Another fight, another episode of being screamed at because he has anger issues. If a person has anger issues, that's another red flag. Get out of that relationship now, because it can easily and very quickly go from screaming to physical. So get out now. That's your red flag. You just like, I don't want to cause another episode where I'm being screamed at, where I'm being talked down to, where I'm being humiliated, where I'm being, thrown all this negativity at. I just don't want to deal with that negativity, right? And so when you are just putting up or settling or you're just like in the avoidance mode, you're just like closing yourself off and like being a victim and being emotionally abused verbally too. And if you don't put a stop to this, it's going to continue, but because he's going to know, she's actually playing along. She doesn't talk back to me. She doesn't act like she's putting up with this. And guess what? He's going to feel his power more and more. It's going to start slow. But the more and more you absorb that, the more and more and more and more often and in bigger episode, it's gonna happen because he's a parasite. He enjoys humiliating you and bringing you down. That's what he thrives on. That's what toxic people thrive on, right? And so if you're playing along, he's gonna know his power and he's gonna continue doing that. But once you start standing up, and if you start standing up for this in the early stages, that is the key indicator that you will succeed, and you'll simply not gonna proceed with this relationship, period. Right? But if you've been together for years and you start standing up now, he's gonna explode, and this could be deadly. But you have to start standing up for yourself in a way. If you need to retrieve, and if you are at a point where you simply need to run away and be quiet and disappear, that is your escape, right? Don't try to fight back. But if you feel like if you start standing up for yourself and he's gonna understand and play along on that, then you're gonna develop a little bit more of a better dynamic there, where he knows, oh, he can't raise voice at you, he can't scream at you, he can't tell you what you can or cannot do, because you too have the power. The only reason why he has his power is because you let him. You gave your power away to him, right? But if you take your power back and start standing up for yourself, he has half that power. In fact, he has no power at all, because you're the only person who is playing along. He has no one else. Nobody else is gonna take his bullshit. The reason why he's abusing you is you're the one taking it on. And so if you stop putting up with that, it's gonna hopefully slow down. But my feeling it's never gonna slow down. It's just gonna become impossible to have a relationship with that person. And eventually the marriage will fall apart. And so I would rather this happen sooner, quicker. And I would rather for you to start from scratch building your happy life by paying attention to your desires, your wants, your spiritual guidance, because all they're going to tell you is this and that and that, and that your spiritual guidance does not matter, and he knows everything, right? But if you start paying attention to your own intuition, to your own spiritual guidance, never question yourself, that is your key indicator. You're getting that spiritual guidance from the higher spirit. Follow that. You are more right that you know. You just never was told that you can follow your own guidance, right? So start believing in your own guidance, start believing in yourself, and take that action. Do not accept that abuse from anyone ever again.